Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Um, I was really impressed with a question that was sent to Yusef asking about head coverings, and I love head coverings. And I don't know if it's because I was raised around it, and so it's very meaningful to me, or something else that I haven't thought of. I have no idea. Maybe there is some sort of spiritual significance to it that I haven't even tapped into to be able to describe or something, but I definitely have a very good feeling about head coverings, and I know why some ladies don't, for whatever reason. But what's really nice is that at my church, it does not matter at all if you're wearing a head covering. I've seen people in jeans, I mean, short sleeves, all kinds of different necklines, and stuff that when I was growing up, there would, everyone was very covered. So I really like the fact that it's, as covered as you want to be, and as, honestly modest. I mean, people aren't dressed ever inappropriately, so it's fine. But it's just interesting for me to see that it is fine because I grew up with it being totally the opposite. You had to be covered, head to toe, whatever. But the only distinction, and I don't know the answer to this, so I did kind of want to ask because I didn't know. Um, the distinction for Jewish ladies is that you're only wearing a head covering once you've been married, and really it's actually even to signify virginity, so that if you've never been married, even as an adult, into her 50s, she would never have covered her hair. But once a woman has been married, let's say her husband's passed away or she's gotten divorced, once you have been married ever, from then on, the head is covered. So I didn't know if within Orthodox, um, if young ladies start to wear their hair covering at a certain age or something. So that's kind of a question I have because I don't know what the sequence of things is. Um, And it's interesting, I've seen ladies, who just never cover their hair and they were like obviously raised as Orthodox. And then I've seen other ones who do. And I have seen some sort of cultural things about it, which is kind of interesting for me just because I enjoy that. And it just sort of makes it more beautiful, really. So I I have a whole bunch. I'm like looking at all of them. I have a whole bunch of scarves, like an entire wardrobe, and it's not like I went out of my way to collect any of them. Some of them were gifts, of course, but it's kind of funny how once you sort of start acquiring them, it's almost like they must have babies in the dark at night in your dresser or something, because I look and then sometimes the teenager scarf has run off and I never see it again until such and such years later. I don't know. Um, there's like I've got a runaway scarf right now. Actually, it has angels on it, so it must have flown away. I don't know. But I like the flexibility of scarves. Um, like I said, when I was growing up with everybody, covering, they would a lot of times just wear wigs and then a hat over the wig, or there were ladies who they would wear, a tichel, they would wear a scarf of a different, you know, tied variety or this or that. But a lot of ladies would just wear like a hat, like a soft hat. And this one's actually from Decent Exposures, which is a woman-owned company. I think they're sisters, and they're from Seattle, I think. They make a lot of great products. This shape of hat actually they make smaller, so you can get one for a child, an infant. And I did actually get a lot of my baby's hats from there. They're great. Now, if you've never worn a hat before, or if you've never worn a scarf before, there are ladies who actually wear lace covering on their head. So if you want something extremely simple, all you would do is get that and two bobby pins and you're good to go. Um, but if you like scarves or you want to try experimenting with it, I have some suggestions, especially for people who are new to wearing scarves. First of all, get some kind of a bag, okay? This one is like satin lined, so there's nothing that's going to catch on it, and it stays clean in my bag, in my dresser. Sorry, drawer. Um, a lot of times you have to hand wash them and air dry them. They can kind of get crumpled, sort of, so you can steam them or just, put it in your shower. When you're taking a shower, the steam will take care of it. How you dress your hair underneath it depends on how you're going to wrap your scarf. You can just use a scrunchie and it's no big deal, and it depends on like where you're piling the part of the scarf on. Or you can do that kind of bouffante thing where you push up the front part, and then when you lay the scarf over it, it looks really nice. So you can do your little bobby pins and this or that and get it into a ponytail or not. Like I said, for ladies who are just starting out, I really recommend something very lightweight, because if you're not used to the way it feels to have a scarf on your head, it might tend to make you hot. So, look for things that are like filmy, like this. You can see through them, because it's just meant to cover. It's light, it's lightweight. It doesn't have to be large. This one, I would say, let's see, how many inches across is this? I wouldn't say this is any more than 8 or 10 inches across. And it's just super long. And what I end up doing with this one is I wrap it over the top of my head, and then I tie it around my neck. And that works just fine. When they're silky like this, there are a couple things that you kind of might want to do to keep it from slipping. One is, of course, bobby pins. Okay, they won't make a hole in your scarf, but you'll see the bar, and so some ladies don't like to see the bar. So there are these pins that are kind of like halfway between a barrette and a pin, but it is going to put, a hole into your scarf. So if it's very fine, what you have to do to make sure that you're not going to cause your scarf to tear and rip is actually, you'll see that there's always some sort of a serged end. Do you see how it's thicker there? If you take a pin, and put it through there, or you can even use a hat pin, those work as well, to affix it to your head. You're really actually like tucking it under your hair, believe it or not. It is less apt to rip because it's, you're putting it through like a reinforced portion of it, because either it's serged or it's folded over or something like that. I love anything with tassels, so you might find that you prefer straight edges because nothing would ever tickle you, but I love the way that tassels flow and move, and I just think they're very lyrical. Um, this is a scarf, and like, don't spend a lot of money on your scarves. You really don't have to. You don't have to have like an Hermes scarf to get the job done. I mean, I wouldn't wear like a bandana, obviously, but I got this one at like a secondhand store for no more than like $5. I don't even think. And why I got it, I thought it was very interesting. These cross shapes reminded me of in the icons of the Theotokos, she always has these like stars on the corners of her garments. I just thought that was, yeah, so that made me happy. Okay, then, and these are kind of like the in thing right now for Muslim ladies, is to wear pashmina, and they're wonderful to wrap really thick and high. Some of them are too thick. Some of them are similar to um, like an outdoor like wrap around your headscarf when you're like in the winter. You don't want to do that. You're gonna get way 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 too hot in church, just because there's a tendency for yourself to warm up when you're around other people, and they're warm somehow. Those I don't know. It would be too warm, and I'm a person that's always freezing cold. So if I'm telling you not to wear a winter scarf, you would be, yeah, really not happy. So, but you can get the thinner ones, and there are a couple interesting, fun ways to wrap them that I might show you parts of. But there are a lot of great videos of ladies who tie and wrap and do all kinds of stuff. And I might put some of my favorites underneath there. This is another one I just got from a secondhand shop. It's quite wide. Okay, so it's like as long as my arm. It's as wide as my arm, and it's from my shoulder. It would go all the way to my thighs, folded in half. Okay, that's how I like to measure them. It does not matter what shape that your scarf is, because it only is a matter of your preference for the fact of how much of yourself you're wanting to cover and the directions to which you're wanting to wrap them and direct them. I always do fold them in half so that when I want to wrap them, I just slip it out from there, and then I know where the center portion is in the middle of my head. But if I'm wrapping it around, I'm not going to keep it there. I'm going to probably go halfway to the other side of it. So like here's the center, and then there's the other side of it. And what I'm going to do is let that be the portion that I put over on the top of my head, so that the other side that I'm wrapping around is longer, and then it just, you know, drapes all around the back and stuff like that. Okay. If you can find ones that have embroidery. This is embroidery and tassels, so I was a happy gal. This one is another one that I got at like a secondhand shop. It's a very thin pashmina, and these are really long rectangles. You can do a couple things with your long rectangles. You can either keep them as a long rectangle, just wrap, and the only thing I would say that you want to do is always make sure that you turn it after you've wrapped it, so that the outside weave portion is showing, because you can tell the difference between the inside and the outside of a scarf just from the way that the pattern lays onto it. So when you have a long one like this, you can like I said, either leave it as that rectangle, or you can fold it in half and you've got a square, and then you can either keep it as a square or fold it into triangles. Triangles you can kind of do different things with, but I usually like to keep them more, you know, the longer ones, because I just like them big and flowy. This one, I do not know where I found it. It is a pashmina, and it's just paisley. It's got like purples and greens. I think I was attracted to this because the border reminded me of Tallis's. So I would have to say, of my paisley, this was my favorite for the very longest time, until this week I need to give a shout out to Me 4000 Me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. She had a contest on her channel and I won. And so it was a gift card she gave. Very, very generous. So I went and I found this one at Target. Tassels, of course, I'm happy, and paisley, what could make me happier? And if you know what paisleys represent, put it in the comments, because when I learned that, I was really surprised. Then there's ones that are kind of either given to me, or they have some sort of a sentimental value because they're like cultural. So this one is one of those. This one came from a friend of mine who is from Germany, and even though it's an Indian scarf, she gave it to me. So this actually sat on the front of my, what do you call that thing in the car? Dashboard. It sat on the top of my dashboard because I didn't like, you know, the brown looking dashboard. So part of it is sun faded from California, and yeah, it's pretty worse for the wear. It's got elephants. So yeah. Shout out to Sanjay. Yeah, that's my temple wear. Not really. Okay, now, these are the ones that are incredibly much more ethnic for as far as Russian. Okay. This is a very, very, very small babushka that I got from my sister Arliss. She's Russian as well. And she lives in South Dakota. She's given me, oh my gosh, where can I find it? I have core samples from the mountain that's there that has the you know, Mount Rushmore. Hang on, I'll see you. she gave me core samples. Okay, this is like out of the center of it. Can you believe that? And I've got like 3 or 4 of these around the house. And I have actually, yes, used them to, as, what do you call those things? Rolling pins. Yeah, they make great rolling pins. Okay, this is probably the smallest babushka I have, and it's the most see-through-ish. And this is the one that I keep in the car so that if I forget, because I even wrote that in the comments. One day I forgot, and when I prayed, it was no big deal anyways. But I thought I was going to feel really weird and creepy, and I didn't end up feeling that way, but I did decide, yeah, I need to keep that in the car at all times just in case somehow I would happen to, but I've never done that ever again. It was just that one very rushed morning, of course, isn't it? So now, I have a couple more babushkas. These ones I do wear, like the total under my chin. Yeah, I look like a granny. Babushka. If you have like a Russian area in your town, or like there's a bunch of Ukrainian people or Polish people, they'll have scarves like this if you like them. Like I said, I think it's like something from childhood. Like if you didn't grow up with it, you might not like these. But there are what are called piano shawls that are much larger expressions of these types of paisley and stuff. And those, because it's much more like those larger scarves, I could see somebody who wasn't raised with babushkas liking. So if you want those. And I think I might put a link for piano shawls because they really are laid over piano. It's kind of funny. Okay, now these are like my most, yeah. This one I've shown before because I got this on Belmont when I was, yeah, it was 1988, okay? And yeah, even then I aligned with Palestine. So there you go. That's that one. Then these both I got from my husband. This one from Ireland with all the print stuff on it. And there's another one that I have that is a different shade of green, and it's just as gorgeous with the amazing knots and stuff. And this one is just a white fur. Well, it's kind of cream colored. And it's huge, and I love wearing it because it's kind of like, you know, obviously a gift from my husband, so I love to wear that one. So whatever it is your reason for covering, you know, if it's something that you've decided to do or you felt led to do or whatever it is, I hope you'll enjoy the blessings that come from it because it definitely means very, very much to me. And I'd like to hear back if you do try tying them or wearing them, maybe some of what your experiences are like. And I wish you all great blessings and peace. Take care.